Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. Today's the 21st of May, 2017, and I am showing you a page that explains Greek myths and Greek mythology. And what I'm going to show you real quick applies. This is really crazy to me. Now, in my opinion, ever since the Gothard tunnel ritual, ever since they completed the tunnel over in Europe, very close to CERN, ever since they did this £8 million, I mean, that's a lot of money, ritual. I mean, that's what you're looking at right here, where all the dignitaries from all over the world, Angela Merkel, the president of France, so forth and so on, they all went there to watch the opening of a tunnel. Now, this is a video I put up in June of 2016, and that's when this occurred. Ever since this, when I watched this, when I first covered it, and many other channels did as well, all of us came to the same conclusion. This was a declaration that they are no longer going to hide in the shadows, that they are indeed coming out, that they are indeed going to attempt to tear the veil between humanity and spirituality. And I know it's not a popular subject, and if you guys listening are Christians like myself, you understand. Because even mentioning the word Jesus Christ, it gets people spitting venom. They get so mad at you. I don't walk around pushing my videos on people. I don't send videos to people I don't know. My videos are here, and if you find them, you find them. If you don't, you don't. It is what it is. But when I see things like this that are supposed to just be, this is the opening of a tunnel, this is what we chose to do, this long, cryptic, ultra-symbolic, unbelievably satanic pagan ritual in broad daylight, and it's no big deal. This is how we celebrate the accomplishment of a large construction project, a tunnel that goes underground, the biggest, longest, most expensive tunnel ever devised. We didn't have one of these after the Big Dig was completed in Boston, where they ran a tunnel underneath the Boston Harbor. You see what I'm saying? Nobody does anything like this. But when this occurred, we could only draw one conclusion, and that conclusion is they are no longer going to hide in the shadows. They are no longer going to bend to our will as Christians, as humans opposing what it is that they're trying to do. And they have become incredibly flagrant. Look at the symbolism, for instance. They're showing the roots of the tree underground. They're wearing black and white. They're using harmonics along with their ritual, because harmonics are how you tear the veil. It isn't through raw power. It isn't through raw technology. You need to use a specific frequency, a specific tone to activate and open portals, let alone to tear the veil between humanity and spirituality. And that's exactly what this was. This was them declaring to all of those with the eyes to see and the ears to hear that we are indeed complete. Our task is done. At any given moment, we can simply flip the switch, tear the veil, and loose all hell on earth. Now, many people like to say, oh, the demons are already here. They are already here. That's a fact. I probably have one standing over my shoulder right now, and I'm actually sure I do, that's telling me, don't do this video. You'll get attacked by trolls. Don't do this video because people will look at you funny. Don't do this video because people will ridicule you. I don't care. It's too far. I'm not going to stand here and watch the country that I grew up in and that I loved fall into absolute, utter chaos. The gates, the on and never-ending political ridiculousness that we have to go through as Americans, while the rest of the country stands aside and watches, shrugging their shoulders, looking at their phone and saying, what can I do? Well, I'm Richie from Boston, and I'm going to do this until they finally pull the plug. So, with that, I digress. If you follow 𝗦𝗵𝗿𝗶, or you follow Steve Quayle or Genesis 6 films that they just put out recently, they put out a movie about giants. They went to Sardinia and they followed around a lot of this stuff. Now, when you look, let me show you a clip from that. In the recent offering by Gen 6 Productions, which I thought was pretty overpriced, and I didn't like the fact that Steve and his friends were all meeting up. You know, they flew into the scene in helicopters and Escalades and stuff like that. It just made me think if they didn't use a helicopter and they just drove out to the middle of the desert like I did, maybe this video would be more affordable because $15.99 is a lot of money. But again, it is what it is. They do what they do. They get to travel the world on other people's dimes. I just wish they showed more content as opposed to simply interviewing people that lived in Sardinia that did talk about things that are actually. This is the movie True Legends. I did buy it. I did watch it, and it was okay. It didn't unearth anything that I hadn't already seen before. But what it did do is prove that these myths that we see every place like this aren't myths at all. These aren't fairy tales. The unseen hand in the background are indeed using fairy tales, myths, and mythology to tell us our real history, and most people write it off as though it's not real. The myth of Odysseus and the Cyclops is one of the most known Greek myths narrated by Homer in his Odyssey. Now, if you look at the skulls and artifacts that have been found from all over the world, they have indeed found horned skulls. They've found elongated skulls all over the United States and the world. They have found skulls with horns. They have found people that still are growing horns. You don't hear about it. They don't make it public. You don't see all the giants that they found all over the United States and the world, but more specifically in the United States. And I've had the opportunity to drive there myself on my own dime and visit these places, and they are indeed real. A couple of months ago, I traveled to Ohio to the Great Serpent Mound that's located in the middle of nowhere in Ohio, and I took video of this. And I talked about it, and I've shown it to you before, and I've been there more than twice. You cannot see this giant snake coming out of a spiral with the primordial egg or the ogdode in its mouth unless you are 600 feet in the air, which is what I'm at right now. 600 feet in the air. Every single part of this coil points to an astronomical destination, and the snake is clearly shown coming out of a spiral. The spiral is indicative of a portal or something opening up. You can see it right there. The snake is coming forth out of the spiral. They attribute this burial mound, they call it, to the Native Americans. And yet, if you speak to Native Americans like I have at the Serpent Mound, these were here when they got here. These were built by the giants. The stories you hear about Lovelock Cave, where the Indians, the Native Americans, fought the giants and ended up burning them in. And then, in our own time, under millions of pounds of guano or bat shit, they found the skeletons, the red-haired giants, double rows of teeth, 6 fingers, 6 toes. This is our true history. But they hide it from us because they hide it behind the lie that we are evolving. That right now, with all of our technology, humanity is at their absolute pinnacle when nothing could be further from the truth. Look around. In just my lifetime, I have watched children don't play outside anymore. Nobody wakes up and asks why God put them on this earth anymore because they've erased that. We're simply a happy coincidence that just happened to occur because nothing was around one day and it exploded and turned into everything, and everything's fine. There's millions of planets. There's life everywhere. We're no big deal. Nothing matters. That is the lie. And that's why they invented to swoop around the country and gather up all these bones, all these remains, and dig into all the mounds that absolutely speckle the United States. They are everywhere. And every time they've been dug into, people pull out bones of giants. And I'm not talking 7 foot, 8 foot tall NBA players. These things were 15, 20, 30, and even bigger. Now, why am I going into all this detail? Why am I talking about giants, Genesis 6, Tim Alberino, Steve Quayle? Why am I bringing all this up? Because it plays. Pay attention. August 21st. There will be a total eclipse that passes from the northwest all the way down to the southeast, and it hasn't happened in 38 years, and this will be a total eclipse of the sun. And it also, as you can see in this NASA diagram right here, they're showing it in an egg shape. Now, many people that research this believe that this ties directly into the primordial egg, the ogdode, as it were. This is an enormous astrological event that's happening, and I believe that August 21st, between August and September, they are going to indeed try to open the pit tear the veil between humanity, and they've been waiting for this for a long time. And it appears to me, JMO, just my opinion, this is just what I think. They're going to try to tear the veil between humanity and spirituality and give all those demons, all those things that we've read about in mythology, they're going to give them a physicality. These things are going to come to life in the third dimension. We're going to see them. They're going to make contact. They're going to open up a literal hell on earth. That's what's doing. That's what's doing. That's what these people are doing. And I believe that's exactly what things like this great serpent mound represents. I believe this is exactly showing what's going to happen. The pit will open, the serpent will come out, and the snake will eat the egg. We've seen it time and again. We've seen it in I Pet Goat. But this still stands as a testament to the mighty men, the men of renown that once walked this earth, that have done everything in their power, and for the most part, they've been successful in completely hiding, mythologizing our true history while teaching us a history that has nothing to do with anything. We're not evolving, we're devolving. Like Trey Smith says, we are simply a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, and as time goes on, the copy gets weaker. Look around you right now and tell me that humanity is smarter, better off. We couldn't be further from the truth. Humanity is in a state right now that it seems like a great flood could come about at any given moment and wipe us all away. That's just my opinion. But it seems like all these things are starting to come to pass. Take a look at this National Geographic article from 2003, February 5th. Cyclops myth spurred by one-eyed fossils. They're explaining how they found one-eyed fossils exactly like I just showed you, and how they tried to cover up the myth way back then in 2003. Small little articles, everything is just buried, everything goes down the memory hole. But it did exist. It's right here in front of you. They have found these things. They are indeed real. Many, many, many people have found the remnants of giants, giant axes, giant tools, stories, spoken word passed down from generation to generation. Look around us right now. What do you think all the are in the atmosphere for? Why do you think they're fried, whether they like it or not? Why do you think the moment a baby comes out of the womb into this earth, into our mortal realm, it's instantly a battery of loaded with, and half of the children are coming out, not half, but a good majority are coming out, and almost all the elderly people couldn't possibly pass down a story because they all have Alzheimer's. This is a new thing. This did not exist. 20 years ago, it was a totally different story, but that's where we're at right now. They've covered all their bases. They don't want people that are capable of critical thinking, and all the food is daily, right in front of our faces, and people don't even look up. It absolutely astounds me. And those are the people that are going to be lost. The path is narrow, and not very many are going to make it. So people are going to ridicule us, people are going to label us, people are going to talk shit about us, and people are going to troll us. And yet I still wake up every day and I have to do this. There's no monetization. There's no money to be made doing this. So what's the excuse now? Do you see what I'm saying? Well, the reason I went into all of this ad nauseum is because of this. Again, National Geographic, rare Cyclops goat is beating the odds. The miracle goat has attracted crowds of spectators in India. It's always in India. Look at this abomination that they're calling a miracle. This is a message. This is a harbinger of their return. This is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen, and yet this is what they're pushing. This is what's trending. This is what they want us to see. Totally censored and controlled, and yet this is the newest rage. There's a reason for it, my friends. This is an abomination. This is a horrific monster, and I would not be one bit surprised to discover that they have these type of things in the deep underground military bases that are all over the world. This is a miracle. This is a grotesque beast. This is disgusting, but yet this goes right along with everything else that National Geographic pulls. National Geographic, a magazine noted for traveling the country, traveling the world, taking pictures of Africa, the Serengeti, the desert, Sahara, blah, 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 has all of a sudden decided to pick up the torch and run with the transgender child movement. And now this latest miracle has popped up. We are literally living in the time that the Bible warned about. Generation after generation after generation sat down, read the word from God written down by man, and thought that they were the generation. Well, guess what, Dorothy? It's us. Richie from Boston. Like, share, subscribe, or don't. I'm out.